Welcome back to Adelante Chicago. Destinos is the very much needed international Latin American theater festival in Chicago, created by Mirna Salazar. This year, it offers 6 weeks of some great shows with Latinos on stage and behind the scenes. Destinos creator and executive director of CLATA, Mirna Salazar, is with us, as well as Ricardo Gutierrez, artistic director of Teatro Vista. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, and thank you for having us here.
It's your 3rd year. I remember when you started this and we all thought you were crazy, but boy, did we need it, Mirna.
Yes, we do. We need to amplify our voices and make sure that we can share our stories in mainstream theaters and make sure that we can share these stories to the general audience. And Chicago being the mecca of theater and being the year of Chicago theater, we are excited to have this 3rd Destinos International Theater Festival.
So as I understand it, 11 productions. Tell me a little bit about what we can find at Destinos this year.
Across the board, from our 5 local theater companies, Teatro Vista, Urban Theater, Teatro Aguijón, which is celebrating their 30th year with one of the productions, and I know that Ricardo will talk more about Teatro Vista, but we have a wonderful production of Aguijón, which is a Midwest premiere. Nilo Cruz, who is a Pulitzer Prize winner. Se llama Exquisita Agonía, Exquisite Agony. We have Water People at the Steppenwolf Theater with the Delicate Tears of the Waning Moon, Las Delicadas Lágrimas de la Luna Menguante. And that has to do a lot with journalists, and she's a journalist, and the repression of stories that they are not being aired on organ donors in Mexico, and it's based on a true story. And Rebecca Aleman is the playwright on that one. And we also have an international company today, Feos, which is by one of Chile's most renowned playwright, Guillermo Calderón, and the puppeteer, she is a puppeteer, Eileen Kuppenheim. And Feos will be at the Chopin Theater opening tonight along, and obviously Teatro Vista opening tonight at the Den. So we are all excited. It's across the board. Unfortunately, we had one cancellation because of the visas not coming through, but that's happening throughout the through a lot of producers and people of visas being denied by the U.S. Immigration Service.
It is the reality that we're living as a country right now, and ironically is the reason why we need these kinds of shows.
Yes.
Right? Ricardo, I want to talk about Teatro Vista's production, and I think we have a clip about from it, if we want to run it now. What's the name of the show?
Hope, Part 2 of a Mexican trilogy. It's a standalone. It is part of a trilogy, obviously, but it is a standalone production itself.
Okay, let's see if we have this clip.
Sure.
I do have a wish. I wish we had a different life. I wish that Mom and Dad loved each other more than anything else in the world.
I wish that Dad would come home and stay home. I wish Dad was like the father on Leave It to Beaver, and he would say stuff like, "Son, I'm proud of you." What's your wish, Mom?
What is this show about, Ricardo?
So what we're seeing right here is a Garcia family in the 1960s, early 1960s. The name of the play is Hope. In the trilogy, there is a character called Esperanza, which of course means hope. And it follows a family from World War I to the 1960s, and then also Pope John Paul's visit in the 70s. And in this particular one, the family is strife, as most families are. There are 4 siblings that reckon with each other and argue, but they get along. And it's a coming-of-age story, not only of this family and the siblings, but also of the country, because it's smack right in the time period of the Cuban Missile Crisis, JFK, and the Civil Rights Movement. And we know, of course, that was a time period of the Camelot and all, and of hope.
Right.
But then we know what happens to Kennedy, and how do you maintain that hope? How do you bring the family together? How do you bring the country together?
I love that these are our stories in the United States.
I love the fact that it is a Mexican-American family that existed in the 60s, you know. Not enough is taught that these families did exist, and they did assimilate. And the assimilation is in different degrees in the siblings, which is something that continues today.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people just don't realize that, you know, Mexican-American families are the backbone of the the United States along with others, and they did exist.
We've known of Teatro Vista forever, but Mina, you mentioned 5 local Latino theater companies.
Repertorio Latino, Urban Theater, Teatro Aguijón, Water People. We've got excellent Latino theater being made in Chicago. And these are the stories that we want to share with the general public. And some of these stories are being shared in mainstream theaters like the Steppenwolf and the Shakespeare Theater and the Goodman as well.
And Ricardo, what an opportunity, because when you have a company like yours, sometimes you're nomadic, right? You don't have a home of your own,
yes.
and you have to be in these storefronts, right?
And we're striving for that.
Right.
We're striving for that.
Fingers crossed.
Clata, to bring us all together in a central location where we can all do our work. But there are benefits, of course. We're doing a production later on this year in association with the Goodman Theater, and we've associated with them. We've associated with Steppenwolf, and also that exposes our stories to a much more broader spectrum of audience.
Absolutely. Were you going to say something, Mina?
No.
Yeah, I
just
think
very proud of what our local theater companies are doing.
Absolutely.
And putting and giving a platform to the international and the international to bring them along as well, is to share the stories and to see how similar those stories are.
And the timing of the birth and the founding of Clata is just excellent, because there has been such an explosion of Latino talent, Latinx talent coming to Chicago. Not only actors, but playwrights and designers. And 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't do this.
And we're
you could
creating
not
our
do
own
it.
space.
And so the bubble is there, and it's burst,
Yeah.
and it's exciting. And thank God we have Clata to embrace it and promote it beyond the explosion.
Well,
that's
you
there.
deserve the mention. Mirna, Ricardo, thank you so much. Destinos is through October
27th.
Okay, and you have the information on your screen for tickets and the information on Clata and, of course, Teatro Vista. Thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.